Hello everybody, welcome back. Today is going to be a shorter video, I think, but it's meant to have some tips for people who, like me, have a tarot collection, but try to get away from experiencing tarot overwhelm. So, we are taking a closer look at my altar, my tarot table, where I have these shelves where I display and keep my tarot decks. You may have noticed, I'm not sure in what order it's going to be uploaded, but you may have noticed in the background of most of my videos, because I film most of them over here, that I have less decks up here. Now there is a reason for that. First of all, I want to say different things work for different people, so this is just something that, it's a video I think that you can use as a reference to see what works for you. There are probably many more options that I haven't thought about. Please leave a comment below so that other people can benefit off of this idea. So, I used to have all of my tarot decks displayed here. Well, displayed, it's really more like a storage thing for me. But it was just about grabbing whatever I wanted at any given time and just work with that deck. So I don't even know how many decks I have now. Anyway, I used to have more. As you may know, in 2020, I got rid of a lot of decks. And so I know that hashtag depth year is no longer trending, but I think it's still a thing over here for me. Yeah, I think that last year was really about getting rid of decks and making my collection a little more back to the essentials was the idea. And perhaps this year might be not getting any decks. I don't know, it's still early in the year to say something like that, to claim this, but I just so far don't really feel the need to get new decks. Although I must say I have been looking at Triomphe de la Luna, Paradoxical Colorways, but you know, that's my favorite deck. So anyway, I'm thinking this year might very well be about shopping my own shelves. And I have these tarot shelves and then also the decks that I kept that I didn't read with or didn't read with a lot. But I also didn't want to get rid of them. I have them over on my bookshelf, and we will go through that in a second. But I want to show you these ones. Some of them are just boxes. I have the Crow's Magic Tarot box over here, and then the Thoth box over there. I don't actually use the blue box all that much. It's just something that has that sentimental, historic value for me. And this is an empty box because I have my Thoth in this pouch, which I use a lot. This deck I use a lot. The Crow's Magic Tarot, I have the talk box just because I think it's kind of funky and cool, but I have made, but I have made my own box for this deck and I use it a lot. It's not a main deck. Not a mood deck either, it's something else. So it's in between. So I'm thinking I have my main decks and then Crow's Magic Tarot. Then after that, I have a feeling the rest of my decks, meaning the mood decks. Then I have right over here my Rider-Waite-Smith Centennial. Love it, made the box. And of course my Triomphe de la Luna Paradoxical also made the box. I think actually the rest of these decks, meaning Secret Dakini Oracle, Druidcraft, Golden Rider, Wild Unknown, and the Wildwood, yeah, that's all the decks I have here, are here because I feel that those are decks I want to use a little bit more in this in these months, in this period. I don't know how long of a period I am actually talking about. It's just a feeling. I have this hashtag on my channel as well, hashtag what decks I'm using now and why. It's really long, but that's just the whole idea. It's not exactly rotational system, it's just about actually analyzing oneself, why I am being drawn to those specific decks for this moment in time, for this moment in my life, for this season, or anything, any aspect, anything that can influence my choice and my needs. So there is a bit of an analyzing within that idea. It's almost like reverse engineering, isn't it? It's like some people use a monthly system, which I've tried, but it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me because I prefer to have fewer decks that I work with more. But I understand having a lot of decks, then that rotational system in a monthly way, it's really helpful. The idea here is that in the monthly system that people do is they have a lot of decks, and so they want to work with every deck a little bit at least, right? So it's about, I think, choosing what deck suits what they need at the moment, or the season, or, you know, like October would be the creepy decks, in summer would be really bright and vivid decks, fall, the fall colored decks, etc., and winter perhaps really cozy decks, or perhaps really minimalistic decks. We don't know. And then usually I see that on Instagram and on YouTube as well. Usually I think those collectors or those readers then choose around 4 decks a month, so that can have the weekly system. So basically it's 1 deck a week. And they don't always stick to that, but yeah, I think it's a really cool idea to give every deck a chance, give every deck, you know, just the experience with every deck. Yet you may understand that, yeah, again, I just prefer to have stretch out that time with decks. And I know having more decks, having a deck collection, can mean that we also get bored a little bit quicker with every deck. Yet, I think just sticking to my main ones right here, plus now I am cheating my own hashtag or my own idea of the main decks and mood decks, obviously, plus the Crow's Magic Tarot. But just those 4 is what I use most of the time for clients and for myself. And so I feel that there is this kind of an okay with myself, because I am at the same time working with each and every deck, working with my main decks in a deeper way and stretching out the timeline, you could say. And at the same time, I'm allowing myself this rotational system, whereas when I'm sick of the Marseille, I can just switch back to my Centennial, and then sometimes I want the color craziness of the Thoth, and then sometimes I don't want any traditional system, and then I go to the Crow's Magic Tarot. And then, you know, all of these are mood decks, and yeah, just decks that I felt I needed to work with a little bit more. Okay, this is getting rambly, so I'll go a little bit quicker. Another system, or another thing you could do that I thought of is, of course, rotational in seasons, as I already said, I think. And then also there's this other wonderful thing that's also 4-fold, or perhaps in 5th, who knows? It's the quintessence, right? It's the elements. Maybe you feel that you need to work with a lot of air, the element of air, and then think about what decks you own that really give you that air element, and then work with those for you know, a particular time. So what do we have so far? Having all the decks displayed in one place, and you just grab and, you know, work with each and every deck whenever you feel like it. That's what I used to do. But as my collection grew, as my need to go deeper also grew, I needed to switch it up. So anyway, that's the first option, right, that we talked about. Then there is the hashtag decks I'm using now and why, and then what helps, I feel, is to know what are your main decks and what are your mood decks, and then what are your mystery decks. And then there's also the rotational system of monthly that people do, and then within that weekly, or deck a week, you could say. Then there's also the seasons, like in every season, a new feeling and a new need comes to the surface. And yeah, that's basically just a reason to switch up the decks that you're working with at the moment. And then there are, of course, the elements. I feel those things are connected though, but not always. Yeah, I've showed you what I have on my tarot table. We zoomed in a little bit to see what decks I have right here to work with constantly, or yeah, at the moment, although I must say I'm grabbing those a little bit less. Yeah, I still am in the, yeah, I still am enjoying the the traditional systems plus the weird one, the oddball. But now let's take a look at all the decks that I was not working with, or was not working with often, and that now live, some of them temporarily, in my bookcase. So let's go over there. Okay, and here we are in my bookcase. So this is Morgan's Tarot, which is an oracle. It's a strange one. I'm still working on finishing this booklet that I've made myself. So that's why it's on top. That's why it's actually within reach on this side. This is my dining table, and a table also that I work at a lot. And sometimes just in the morning, I'm so lazy, I don't even feel like getting to the altar. So I just grab Morgan's Tarot. And yeah, little pouch here, El Gran Tarot Esoterico. It's a cool one, but yeah, it needs studying because it's a Picard, and I am just having fun with the other decks. So over here, on top here, this is definitely an October, fall, and winter deck in my opinion. It's the Polka. It's very creepy. It says Marseille, but it's not a Marseille. It's Pip deck. Then Alchemical Tarot. I got this one for my birthday, I think 2 years ago. I don't even know. 2019, I think. So it's wonderful. It's gorgeous, and I do want to work with, but yeah, again, needs studying, and I just want to be fully immersed into this world. So have to wait to get ready for that. Then a Royal Fez Moroccan Tarot. This is a cool one. I have had this one for the longest time, even after deciding, doing this narrowed down collection thing on my tarot table. I kept this one on the shelves for so long, and I did grab it sometimes, and I do like it, but still the imagery, having these very thin lines and a lot of white, and just the primary colors, you could say, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. But still, all of that, all of those aspects that make it really cool to work with, still don't jump out at me as much as a regular Rider-Waite-Smith, like my Centennial, for instance. So it always was a cool reading, but still, on the other hand, feeling-wise, a little bit disappointing. This is a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, which is why I cannot, not, what's it called? Compare it to the Rider-Waite-Smith. Okay, my Inner Child deck, also a box I made for it. Terrible Moon Garden. Yeah, not feeling it right now. Okay, and then Halloween Tarot, very themed, needs to be here. Okay, from here on in, these 4 decks, not a lot, I know, but these 4 decks are decks that I really didn't work with, and that were just basically taking up space, and also, bringing that tarot overwhelm, because I felt like, okay, so every time, you see those decks, every time I saw those decks and those boxes, I was thinking, okay, so I'm really not working with those decks, am I? Am I supposed to get rid of them, but I don't want to get rid of them. They're amazing. They're beautiful. So this was my solution. All of these I know I will use. I have a feeling I will use. Who knows? We'll see. But these 4 last ones are just so, I treasure them and I do want to work with them, except that I wasn't. Yet, I know that having them here, a little bit hidden, but I know I have them, I'll be able to, at one point, shop my own shelves, which is also what I'm doing with these ones. I mean, honestly, what's this called? Esoterico and Alchemical have not worked with, really. So it will be like discovering a new deck. But here I love this artwork. And I also made a little box for it myself at one point. It's the New Orleans Voodoo Tarot. It's gorgeous. And I have the book here as well that I've read already twice, but I have no idea still how to read this without using the book. And I really don't like using books, especially, when I have absolutely no indication on how to read it. So maybe I'm just keeping this for 78 pieces of art. Here, this is my trimmed Tower of the Magical Forest. I am keeping this for when shit hits the fan. This is my Mythic Tarot? The Mythic Tarot, yes. I love this, but again, very much Rider-Waite-Smith clone and full of wonderful Greek myths. Here's Pandora. So yes, I think it's really cool, but I just want to give it its time to shine. So it just needs to be here until I am ready to work with it for a longer time. And then here's another one that I haven't finished the box yet for. It's I wanted to paint my favorite soul card. This is Soul Cards 2, and I absolutely love it. And I'm not much of an oracle person, so this is all intuition, and I am keeping this deck for that very reason, just because I want to have a deck that is just very evocative, beautiful artwork. I love, almost all of these cards. I have a few that are, but we have to work with those as well, right? So, yeah, I'm keeping this for whenever I feel again I will have more purpose for it. I'm thinking magical purpose. So I have used this in the past, and it was great, but over on my regular tarot shelves, I feel it's just taking up space. If there's any deck that you would love to see a flip through of, or my opinion on, please let me know. So I actually think that's it. Let me know what method you are using with your deck collection. This is one that works for me. I think it's really great because in a way I am delving deep with the decks that I want to delve deep with. Some of them I do that naturally. Others I'm kind of exploring more, like, the Golden Rider and all of that, all of those 4 or 5 decks that I keep on the extra shelf. And then having these decks right here, not completely gone, not within reach either, but just here for me so I can be surprised once more with decks I actually already own. So that's also kind of, I'm thinking now, a budget thing, isn't it? It's when you have a tarot collection. Now you see mine is relatively small, especially in comparison, comparing myself to other tarot readers on YouTube. And this is just the way that I like it. I don't know which way my collection is going to go. If it's going to stay around the same amount of decks, or if it's going to grow exponentially, who knows? Or if it's maybe even going to get smaller and smaller. I don't know. I am loving my mood decks, but this is just a way to, when I feel like it, grab a new deck that I haven't worked with a lot or at all, and just shop my own shelves, because I don't need to go out and buy a new deck. I already have a few that are full of things that I don't know yet. So yeah, let me know what you think and what your preferred method is, and I'll see you all in the next one.